Before we begin, I just want you to know that this takes place before Sally's Halloween and after the Adventures of Stretching episode, Battle Against the Inevitable Entity. If you haven't checked them out, I suggest you do before listening to this. One day, at the Scarlet Spade factory, Jack Spader, president of the industry, was in a board meeting with the chairman, Paul Red.
"Jack," said Paul, "we want to change Halloween this year."
"Why?" Jack responded. Paul then said,
"We know you're big on Halloween, but we think you should lay it off this year. What I'm trying to say is, I want to take control of the company for just this spooky season. Until then," he continued, "you're fired."
Jack was confused and shocked. "You're firing me?" said Jack in shock. "But you could do this to me." I started this company. You know how much I sacrificed?" he said in anger.
"Sorry. You're out, Jack."
Jack's expression on his face turned sad. Later, at McWuzzle's, Jack was binging on tons of coffee while crying. "Why would he do this to me? Why?" Jack cried as he continued binging on coffee. Just then, somebody came over to him and asked him this.
"What is with that long face?"
It was Dr. Cerebrione. He was at McWuzzle's to get some burgers and discover the secret of how they taste so irresistible.
"I couldn't help but feel on the plastic wrap. What is it?"
said Dr. Cerebrione. Jack Spader sadly responded, "I've been kicked out of my company by the chairman of the board. I had big plans for this Halloween, but he ruined it by firing me until the start of November," Jack continued. Dr. Cerebrione then offered the sad president of the toy factory something.
"Would you be interested in helping me with something?"
Dr. Cerebrione asked.
"If you do, I'll help you get your company back."
Jack accepted, and the two left McWuzzle's. Even Jack didn't want to do evil. He had no choice anyway. And so, Jack and Cerebrione then arrived at Dr. Cerebrione's lair, located in the middle of the street. Not the best place to have an evil lair.
"Jack,"
said Cerebrione.
"I want you to look at this."
Cerebrione then showed Jack a picture of a skeleton with a V-shaped head.
"This, my friend, is the skeleton of an entity known as the Monster. I discovered him in a cave or on a walk on the beach to relax. I did some research on him, and I tried to bring him back to life as a destructive robot. But despite my attempts, I was unable to get him working."
Jack responded with, "So why do you need my help?"
"If I could get you to possess this Christmas pizza scrap, you'd be able to harness the monster's power and get your revenge against the chairman,"
said Cerebrione. He then called out his giant spider sidekick, Jeffrey.
"Jeffrey!"
commanded Cerebrione. "Yes, Dad," said Jeffrey. He pulled a curtain, revealing the revamped entity. He looked skinnier, but he was mechanical.
"We need to transfer your brain into this robot,"
said Cerebrione. "But how are we going to do that?" responded Jack. Cerebrione placed the helmet onto Jack's head.
"This helmet will allow you to transfer your body onto the monsters. That way, he'll become sentient."
Jack felt nervous. "Has this been tested?" he said. Cerebrione responded with yes, and activated the mind transfer. Jack screamed in pain as his mind was being transferred to the monsters. Ah! 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 After that was over, Cerebrione and Jeffrey looked at the monster to see if he moved. Surprisingly, he did move by standing up, surprising both Cerebrione and Jeffrey.
I do believe it.
Dr. Cerebrione said in surprise.
My idea worked?
Thank you, said Jack in the monster's voice. With this power, I can finally do what I must do. Kill the mayor, he continued. Cerebrione was surprised. His charisma was going to take over Yukio's town for him. Or so he thought. It turns out that Jack's mind was corrupted by the monster's dark influence and took it over. This meant that Jack Spader was no longer Jack Spader. Instead, he was now a stronger Demonson. I'm going to bring about the end of the mayor and her children to get back at Yukon. Also, to rule this town. And you are not a part of this. Bellowed Demonson as he left the building while laughing loudly and evilly. Cerebrione and Jeffrey were shocked and stunned for a few seconds. Then Cerebrione said,
Jeffrey?
Yes, Dad? Jeffrey said.
I'll drop you good, you fairy dog!
Screamed Cerebrione lividly. He pulled out a giant stick and chased after Jeffrey while jabbing him. Meanwhile, outside of Cerebrione's lair, Demonson was on top of a mountain and said, I will avenge the pumpkin-faced one's failure by getting rid of that wretched woman and her fetish-loving children, even if it takes an eternity. Ha 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 ha! Ah ha ha ha! Ah ha ha ha! End of story.